Hello everyone, welcome to British Columbia, the language school. Students, as board exams are quite overhead, I have brought a very quick revision of all the poems in Rhapsody, from Telephone Conversation to Death Be Not Proud. Let us quickly go and study them carefully. Now let us quickly begin with the first poem, Telephone Conversation, written by Wole Soyinka, a Nigerian poet. So the student in this poem, the central theme is racial discrimination, which is presented through irony and humor, very beautifully blended together. And the speaker exposes the absurdity of racism. So, student, this poem actually highlights the problem of racial discrimination. The poet presents the situation through a telephone conversation between a black man and a white landlady. I hope you all have studied it very carefully. The speaker calls for a room, means he makes a call to a white landlady to get a room on rent. But the moment landlady realizes that he's African, she becomes concerned only about his skin color. And then she asks, are you dark or very light? Such types of comments you must have gone through. So what is important to notice here is that instead of getting angry, the speaker replies with humor and sarcasm. And he compares his skin colors to milk chocolate. This is how he shows ridiculous racism, how ridiculous the racism is. This is how he exposes the absurdity of racism. Now, the important points in this poem are, the poem is in the form of a telephone dialogue. Yes, it is between, it is a dialogue, it's a conversation between a black African man and a white landlady. And the second important point is that landlady judges only by skin color instead of discussing about the accommodation, about the behavior, the nature of the man, because she's going to give her room on rent. Instead of dealing with these things or negotiating the price, she shifts her tone to the color of the man, the skin color of that man. This shows that how racism is so deeply rooted that instead of focusing the main topic, she shifts her tone just by knowing that the man is black. And speaker also uses wit and satire to counter the lady's prejudice. Important line we have already discussed. Are you light or very dark? There are other lines too, where the man says West African sepia. This is also, you can mention the colors, the different colors he mentions, like plain or milk chocolate, brunette, right? Now the tone of the poem is, as we know, very satirical, ironical, and mocking. See, the poet actually uses humor to expose the deep-rooted prejudice. The important devices are irony, yes, imagery like milk chocolate or plain or milk chocolate, and dramatic dialogue. So something serious is treated in a humorous way. Though the topic of racism is very serious, yet the poet uses literary devices like irony, and then he uses humor to expose this prejudice. Okay. And as we know that there is also imagery when the colors are described, how imagery is presented by presenting different colors of his skin. Now, important points to remember during exam is that you must focus on the racism, must mention the theme, that is racism, the speaker's attitude towards the racist attitude of the lady, and the poet's criticism of society, how he uses humor to criticize the society, upper class, so-called upper class society. I hope you understood this poem. Let us move on to second important poem, Tetanus, which is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Let us quickly know the central theme of this poem. It is immortality without youth is a curse, human longing versus natural law. The key points, the important points here, which you have to keep in mind during your exams, are Tetanus granted eternal life but not eternal youth. Actually, he demanded, he wished, and he asked Aurora to grant him eternal life, thinking that he would live forever with gods, but it became a curse. Suffers endless aging, and because of this gift, he suffers endless aging. He does not die. He grows older and weaker and feebler, but does not die. And then out of this, he wants release through death. So what is important here is that this is a poem that is based on Greek mythology. Tetanus was granted immortality by the goddess Aurora, we all know, but he forgot to ask for eternal youth. And because of forgetting this, he had to suffer endlessly. So what he is doing now, he is living forever but keeps growing older and weaker. And this is how he is to dwell with eternal beauty. He has to live with Aurora's eternal beauty, right? So Tetanus actually feels very tired, helpless, and lonely, and wishes for death because endless aging has become unbearable for him. Important line here is, me only cruel immortality consumes. Now he feels, when he sees everything coming to this earth and then dying, when he sees this natural cycle of life and death, he feels himself to be in a very he feels himself to be very desperate, because he thinks that immortality that he thought to be a gift for him has now turned out to be very cruel and is actually consuming him day by day. He's only getting older but not dying, right? The tone of the poem is very melancholic, regretful and reflective. Why it is regretful? Yes, the poet regrets. See, the speaker, the Tithonus, actually regrets why he asked for immortality. This really makes him feel saddened. And he also now reflects on the natural order. And you remember the opening lines of the poem, words decay and fall. So this is how, after reflecting over all those things which have an end, he understands the importance of death, and also feels like one should never wish for anything unnatural, or else nature will punish us, right? The important devices here are mythological allusion. Yes, the entire poem is based on the Greek mythology. Personification and imagery is also presented. Now, what is important to keep in mind during your exam is the contrast between mortality and immortality. Whose mortality? Mortality, so the humans who are mortal, who come and die. In immortality of Tithonus. So you have to keep in mind that if you are asked about anything, any question in the exam, you have to keep in mind that you have to mention the contrast between these two important things. How humans have the power to die, whereas Tithonus is almost helpless. So this shows Tithonus is suffering and then almost terrified and hopeless. So what is the message of this poem? What is the message of this? The poet actually teaches that death is natural and necessary. This is the important message of the poet. What it is? That death is natural and necessary, and human beings should accept the limits of life. I hope it is clear. Now we are done with the second poem too. Now let us quickly move on to the third poem, Beethoven, which is written by Shane Koyczan. The central theme of this poem is triumph of human spirit over disability. Inner strength matters more than physical limitation. Yes, these two are the most important themes, like triumph of human spirit over disability. Though we know that Beethoven was physically disabled, but you see, the students, this poem is highly inspirational. It talks about very famous composer. Who is Beethoven? He was a very famous composer, but he was deaf, still created great music, and this shows the triumph of human spirit over disability. And it also shows that how much inner strength matters more than our physical limitation. No matter Beethoven was deaf, still he created great music. So the poet actually tells us that physical weakness cannot defeat the inner strength. The key points, the important key points are: Beethoven lost his hearing, yet created great music. And this poem actually encourages us to believe in ourselves and perseverance. So Beethoven did not surrender. What do we see in this poem? That Beethoven did not surrender to his disability. He fought. He fought very bravely. Instead, he continued composing, proving that determination matters more than limitations. And therefore, in spite of the constant denial, disapproval of his father saying not good enough, he continued to play on the piano. And finally, he overcome all the barriers, all difficulties, and created the best music ever produced. So, what do we see here? That determination matters more than the limitations. The important tone here is, as I've already told you, inspirational and motivational. Yes, the poem is highly inspirational. It highlights how physical disability can be a power, can become a power if you believe in your inner strength. That disability cannot do any harm, cannot bring any harm to you if you only believe yourself. See, the important devices here are free verse, since we know that poem Beethoven is a spoken word poem which directly addresses to the audience. The poet sees a direct address, and repetition in the form of not good enough, so he played softly, so he played strongly. There are so many repetitions throughout the poem, and repetition of Beethoven's name all the time. No? Then direct address means the poet directly speaks to the reader, because it is a spoken word poem, and tells us that if Beethoven could overcome his struggle, so can we. This is the most important message. What it is? That never give up. Challenges makes us strong. So the important thing to keep in mind during exam is how Beethoven inspires us. Yes, he inspires us that we should not give up, and the challenges will only make us strong if we do not give up. Right? It also talks about the message. It also gives us a message about struggle and success that we have seen. Finally, how he became a successful musician, how he turned out to be a genius. Even the orchestra started believing his genius and the qualities that he had. So with this, we come to the end of this poem too. Let us move on to the second last poem, Small Towns and River by Mamangda. It's a very complex poem But students, I hope you do not give up. Recently we have come to the line, never give up, challenges makes us strong. Though it is a very complex poem, but you have to understand what is being said by Mamang Dai, how important message is being conveyed through this poem. Central theme of this poem is nature's permanence versus human transience. See, human beings have a very temporary life. They come to this earth and then they die, but nature remains permanent. And then the quiet resilience of small towns, how small towns are still existing though people are coming to this earth and then they die. Now students, what is important to keep in mind here is that the river symbolizes continuity of life. Let us first focus on the key points. River symbolizes continuity. Human lives come and go. Yes, this shows the human transience. And nature observes silently, how nature becomes a silent observer of what is happening in the surrounding by human activity. So what we discussed, that river actually symbolizes continuity of life. People born, take birth, they grow old, and then they die. But the river continues to flow endlessly. So the poet actually observing how human lives are temporary. Human lives come and go. That means how temporary these human lives are, and while nature remains permanent. But there is no anger here. The tone is very calm. See, very calm. Let me erase this. Sorry. The tone is very calm, meditative, and philosophical. The river is here personified as a silent witness to human joys and sorrows. So the tone remains very calm, thoughtful, and philosophical. Right? Let us come to the important devices of this poem. Symbolism. Yes, river is symbolic to the permanence of nature. Imagery. So much of imagery is used through the use of. Let me come to the point. Actually, imagery is presented through small towns, the tube roses, the cool bamboo. Right? There are so many examples that we can quote to show how imagery is used. And personification, yes, the river has a soul that is clearly personified. Exam focus. Now, what is important to keep in mind during exam is the role of river and the poet's attitude to life and time. Actually, it highlights the contrast between humans and nature, and also shows the poet's reflective mood. We see there is a shift in poet's mood. He starts with a very negative attitude, very morbid picture he presents when he says that small towns reminds me of death. Then he switches to rivers, where he observes nature. When he thinks about humans, he feels that their life is very momentary. In fact, Mamang Dai herself feels like she will also die anytime. Someday someone dies. So this shows that Mamang Dai feels very much fearful, thinking that her life is also very momentary and anytime she will die. Whereas when she when she sees the river which is flowing endlessly, she's reminded of the eternity of nature, that the nature continues to exist no matter human beings exist or not. Then she mentions different phases of the journey of river, from mountain top to the hills, then to the sea, how it changes its phases, how it feels the dry spell when it passes through the town. Then it also highlights how the poet it also highlights how river feels choked when it sees the dirt, the dirt and the fill that is mixed in the water, in the river water, by the people in the small towns. So it all shows the poet's attitude to life and time. And lastly, the great shift we had seen, the spiritual connection, where the poetess says that in a small town, we all want to walk with the God. It shows that spiritual connection. It shows how the people living in the small town, especially in the tribal areas, how they feel themselves connected to God, and what is their belief, what are the rituals that they follow, and how do they feel about the modernity that is the modernization that is taking place one after the other. I hope this much is clear for you. Let us move on to the last poem, Death Be Not Proud, by John Donne, who is a metaphysical poet. And yes, in this poem also he has used the metaphysical conceits. The first important thing is the central themes. The important theme here is that the powerlessness of death. Death is powerless, and faith in eternal life. Yes, the poem challenges death directly. So death is personified and challenged. Death is temporary and soul is eternal. The poem talks about the temporary nature of death and eternity of soul. See, the poet says that death is not powerful and should not be feared at all. Why? Because death is personified like a person there. That's why the poet is directly addressing death and highlighting how powerless death is, that how insignificant death is, and that humans should not be afraid of it. So he speaks very boldly. The tone of this poem is defiant and very challenging. So we have to keep in mind that the poet is actually want to explain that death only brings temporary sleep, and after that comes eternal life, right? So important lines are, death, thou shalt die. This is a paradox. The line that shows death that brings end to everyone's life will itself be ended. So there's a paradox in this line, and it is also very important, and so many questions may be asked. Tone is, we have already discussed, defiant, confident, spiritual, challenging, Important devices are personification. Yes, death is personified, treated as something of very low dignity, of less importance. Metaphysical conceits and paradox. Yes, the last line highlights the paradox. So what is important here to keep in mind during exam is why death is not frightening. Yes, you might be asked why death is not frightening. The poet's perspective you have to give here, where the poet says that faith can defeat fear of death. If we have a firm faith that even if we die, it would be a kind of temporary relief to the body, like a short sleep, and then when we'll wake up, it will be an eternal awakening of soul, and we'll wake up in the heaven. So the religious belief, then we have to focus on the religious belief of the poet. It's a very biblical faith of the poet is highlighted here. Then use of personification. These are the things which we have to keep in mind. So I hope this is all you have understood. See, the message of the poet is very, very clear and direct, that faith, strong faith can defeat the fear of death. If we firmly believe in ourselves, in the biblical the faith in our religion, then we can overcome any kind of fear, be the fear of death. You see how insignificant the death has been presented, how insignificantly the death has been presented by the poet. He says that it's like a rest and sleep. See, this metaphorical line has been used for death, like rest and sleep. It just brings a short sleep to us, and then rest to the body where soul is liberated. So liberation of soul is also highlighted, which is a very biblical belief. The people of Christian, see, this is a Christian belief, that people believe that yes, after they die, they will wake up eternally. I hope these all the points are very clear and very will be very helpful to you people. So just remember all these points. Till then, take care and bye bye. We'll meet you very soon. I'm also preparing some short and quick revision notes for a Prism, the stories in the Prism, but that might take a few days or more. Till then, just go through it carefully, and I hope you have gone through my previous video of the bullet short revision of Macbeth. Well, take care and prepare well, study hard, and all the best for your upcoming exams.